Okay, in this video, we're going to discuss how to find the equation of a line. This is probably my favorite lesson of the course. I think it's the most interesting math that we do. So when I say find the equation of a line, our goal is going to be to find the equation of a line in the form y equals mx plus b. So I always like to write that down first. That's our target. This equation is connecting any x value with the corresponding y value. All we have to do is find numbers for m and b. Those are our two parameters that will define the equation of the line. So in this first example, it's really straightforward. Slope is 3. Slope is always m. And the y-intercept is -2. That's b. So right away, I could say that the equation of my line is y equals 3x minus 2, because b is -2. So I've already found the equation of the line. I'm just plugging in m and b. I already knew those from the question. So that's pretty straightforward, but it kind of tells you the idea of what we're going to be working on in this lesson. One thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see you write y equals 3x plus minus 2. That's fine as kind of an intermediate step, but I never want to see two signs in a row because that's not fully simplified. So I'm going to just put an x through that. You're right. It is technically correct, I suppose, because b is -2, but I want you then to simplify that to just 3x minus 2. However, we're not always going to be given m and b in the question. Sometimes we'll have to do a little bit more work to find out, well, what is m and what is b? So in our next question, we're going to find the equation of a line with a slope of 5 that goes through the point 2, 9. So the challenge here is that, sure enough, I know the slope, but I don't know b. I don't know the y-intercept right away. I just know some other random point on the line. But that's actually enough to find the equation. And you can think about why that is. If I know any point on a straight line, and I know the direction it's going, the slope, then of course I could graph it or find the equation. So I'm always going to start with my target, y equals mx plus b. And in this example, I know m, so I can replace m with 5. But I don't know b. So what we're going to try to do is solve for b, and then once we're done that, we're done the question. So one thing I do know is that I know that this point 2, 9 is on the line. So I'm going to sub in the x and the y coordinate for the y and the x here, and then solve for b. Because remember that the equation is going to connect any x value to any y value, so 2 and 9 will work just fine. So I'm going to plug in 9 is my y value. And then I'm going to plug in 2 for my x value. Remember to do it in brackets to remind us that we're multiplying. And then now I've still got plus b, but now I've just got an algebraic equation that I can solve for b. So I'm going to do that over here. I didn't really leave myself enough space to work vertically. So I've got 9 equals 10 plus b. And then if I move 10 to the other side, I've got 9 minus 10 equals b. So -1 equals b. So now I've also solved for b. So as long as I have the slope and any other point on this line, I can solve for the y-intercept. And just remember that your last step needs to be writing the equation of the line. So y equals mx plus b, and now I do know that m was equal to 5, and I had a y-intercept of -1. So now I wasn't given m and b, but I was able to solve for b because I knew some point on the line. The last type of question that we'll do is, here I don't know m or b. All I know is that the line goes through these 2 points. So again, we might want to start with our target. I eventually want to find y equals mx plus b, but neither of those pieces of information is given to me in the problem. However, we've got all the tools we need to solve for it. So if you remember our slope formula, slope is going to be the change in y, y2 minus y1, divided by delta x, the change in x, or the run, x2 minus x1. So I can label, I also think it's a good idea to label our points. So here's our first point. So I've got an x1, y1. And here's my second point. I've got an x2, y2. And now to solve for m, I can just plug in this information. So y2 was 9, minus y1 was 3. x2 was 3, minus x1 was 5. So my slope will be 6 over -2. And if I reduce that, I've got a slope of -3. So we know that if I have any 2 points, I can solve for m. And once I have m, I can plug that into my equation. And all I need to do now is, again, find b, find the y-intercept. Now, I've got 2 points here. I can use either point for my x and y coordinates and then solve for b. So you could actually try that. You could plug in either point for x and y. It just needs to be the coordinates from the same point, and I'll get the same answer for b. So you could pick whichever one you think is easier numbers. I always like to look for whole numbers and positives. In this case, they're pretty similar. So I'm going to plug in the coordinates from my first point, 5, 3. So y is 3. And I've got an x of 5. And now I have an equation, and all I have to do is solve for b. So I've got 3 equals -15 plus b. If I move the -15 to the other side, I'm adding 15, so I have 18 equals b. So now I know m, and I know b, so I can write the equation of my line. Therefore, y equals -3x plus 18. So as long as I'm given 2 points, that's enough to define the equation of a line. I need to first calculate the slope. Then if I plug the slope and any other point into the equation, I can then solve for b or my y-intercept. So that's how we find the equations of any line, as long as the line is not horizontal or vertical. If it is, it's actually pretty quick, and I have another video for you to watch on horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.